So we are going to introduce our experts, Dr. Koyabumiki. So Dr. Koyabumiki is a TCM. He is also an EPT thermotherapies, electric potential thermotherapy expert in Japan, and he uses this technology to treat his patients. He's 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 an expert in traditional Chinese medicines. He has the certificates, qualified TCM. His expert is also in gynae, Chinese gynae studies, and also and let's start at three. Let's welcome Dr. Koyabumiki and also our translators, Rika Yang from. So let's welcome translator Ms. Rika Yang and also Dr. Koyabumiki to join us so that we can interview them. Okay. Hello, good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. Konnichiwa. Good afternoon. So we have 530 participants online right now. According to me, many people online like to know more about EPG. So today I have a few questions. Then there's most of people that like to ask. So before this, I would like to ask our Dr. Koyabumiki, are you using also electric potential therapy back in home? This is of course I'm using. How long have you been using? So about 35 years already. 1986 year I started. At that time, EPT was not very popular. It was the very basic unit, 30, 35 volt to 300 volt only. Wow, 35 years of using EPT. This is really, I'm afraid, online. We must learn from Dr. Koyabumiki. Use every day now for 35 years. And it's the way they keep him healthy. So I would like to know, apart from he's using, I think his family member is also using, right? I wonder how do they feel, his family member? Can you share with us? Of course, my family member are also using, of course. So doctor itself, at the beginning, when he used it, he was still young and strong. It was the busiest time of my career, very pressures. Of course, but I did not force it. But the most important is every night, good sleep, and the next day my energy level was superb. I seldom yawn. I have always the whole day was energized. This is the my memory. My family member of the whole family using. I have two kids. Uh, in fact, the kids start using it when they're still very small. All their feeling and effect was very good. My wife told me, my wife used to tell me if it's not the EPT, she may not be around anymore. They really love the EPT device, right? So yeah, really the models, the example for us to follow. So can you give him a thumbs up for him, for Dr. Koyabumiki? I believe in Japan, there must be a lot of family using EPT in Japan. Is that right? And I'm curious, why so many people are using this EPT, and why in Japan there are so many people using EPT? Of course, in Japan, from last time, uh, Japan, we have a concept that our own body, we must take care of ourselves. So this is the logic that adopted by Japanese. So therefore they can really accept EPT as their, because it is a way without side effect. Because beside of no side effect, another plus point, because you can take care of yourself. Your balance in the body is, you have to take care of yourself. If you can balance up regular body well, you will not fall sick easily. Therefore, a lot of people in Japan who has this concept of, so they like to do prevention rather than cure. So they do not want to take so much medicines. So they do not want a life that when they are old and at old age they have to lie on the bed and to be treated with diseases. Therefore, they choose to use EPT as a way of doing prevention, so that they can prevent or falling into serious sickness especially when they get old. So understand. What I understand it is, it is the health education is well spread out in Japan. They started to have this prevention disease prevention rather than cure idea incorporated into Japanese in a very young age. I have a chat. Somebody asked. I was curious. How young is Dr. Koyabu today? How old or how young is Dr. Koyabu today? I'm 68 years old now. 68. Now you know the age of Dr. Koyabu, okay? The fourth question is, why do Japanese agree with EPT so much? Because I've shown many medical reports, medical journals, study. You will notice most of them are done R&D are done in Japan. Why Japanese agree so much with their EPT? So just now when I mentioned the first the first EPT machine was invented back in 1928. At that time, they were already attracted many people to do further R&D and study to prove that EPT is effective in so many people going to study about how EPT is effective in reducing problem challenges caused by stress and things like that. What that causes the disorder like sleep disorders. And 50, 60 years, 50s, say they are not only focusing on the Western medication, they also focus on Eastern medication as well. So the concept in Japanese is a lot of people in this side of naturopathy, they want to find ways to create, so to help our body so that we body fall into a situation that our body do not easily fall into sickness. Therefore, this is so EPT because can provide this solution. That's why it has attracted many people, and a lot of attention has been put into EPT in developing EPT's devices. If Because after you explain like this, I think the next question also is partly answered already. That because of the we already understand why Japanese will focus a lot on why in Japanese there are many Japanese scientists actually going to study about EPT. So we would like to know whether will EPT cause side effect if it's used daily. So I think this is also answered. No, but what we do understand some when people are using EPT, they do have this type, some sort of positive cleansing effect of recovery effects. So how do we deal with this recovery effects or positive cleansing effect? May I know how should we go about handling this positive cleansing effect or recovery effect? Yeah, let's talk about why do you have recovery effect. Some people will get scared about this, right? So when our body is under a inferior situation and wanted to change to a better situation, it's a kind of immunity reactions. It's a natural reactions of our body. But if somebody, if you're talking about how to go about this, how to handle this recovery, so we have different types of setting of EPT. We have 300, 600, 1000. You can reduce the EPT setting. You can choose a lower EPT, or you can stop using for a few days, 1 or 2 days, 2 or 3 days, then you can use back. Or also another way is we can adjust the time. You can shorten the time of using. So the main point is you can choose the treatment timing that is suitable for you. So thank you for your recommendation. Have you learned, everybody? This is the tips you have to jot down. So how do we adjust the setting, and we can adjust the intensity. We can also adjust the timing, and also we can also stop for 1 or 2 days. Only then we start back. So it's okay. So you must the important is you must find the setting which is suitable for yourself. That is more important. So we also really interested to know, Dr. Koibumiki, in your clinics, you are using integrated method of treating your patient. They are not using solely TCM or Western medication. So we would like to know why he used EPT in his alternative medicines treatment. Is there any specific reason, or is there because of specific effect that he noticed when he's combined this technology with others? So for Dr. Kabui himself, his father, mother, both of them passed away in the 90s. At that time, I did not use EPT for introduce EPT for my parents. At that time, then he realized EPT EPT can improve our self-healing power, and especially when it can regulate our autonomous nervous system. And how to regulate EPT, autonomous nervous system? We can use EPT to regulate it. So it will help us because EPT can regulate our autonomous nervous system. Autonomous system will help our body to regulate other organs functions. Once you start to understand this, so and then then only he started to do more study into EPT. Then he got really regret that he did not introduce this EPT to his parents before. So this is really deep in his heart. So in terms of integrated method of treatment, so when he was he treating patient with TCM and medication, he also introduced EPT into the client. So it become his practice nowadays to treat integrated method to his client. So it was very detailed explanation by our doctors because it's known that EPT can really help us to regulate our autonomous nervous system and therefore actually help us to regulate the function of organs, our body, and it can actually enhance the treatment, whatever treatment that you use, introduce to the client. So online also there's another question that people ask, or guests ask. Apart from Dr. Ekwabemiki in Japan or in hospital, do they use also EPT into treatment for client apart from Dr. Ekwabemiki in Japan? Yes. So I mean Tokyo. Yes, I do see quite a number of practitioners also using EPT in treatment. So this is special because in Japan, in this the culture of medicines, so they are incorporating EPT into their treatment. It is a really good reference. So for people who have family member who are under some medical treatment, we can actually introduce EPT to them. So is it good? If let's say some of our family member is under treatment of certain for medical conditions, is it good to introduce EPT to them at the same time to enhance the treatment? Of course, you have to depends on his situations. So you must first consult your physicians that treating you. In Japan, when we talk about EPT, it is a recognized medical device from Ministry of Health from Japan. So of course, there are many doctors also agree that they accept apart from their own treatment, they will add on. They can add on EPT treatment into their other treatments. So in other words, you can actually use EPT on top of other treatments, yeah, for patients. Can you, doctor, tell me one or two cases that is most impressive to you, specific cases that you can share with us? actually one of the most impressive case at the beginning of my career in promoting integrated treatments and around 1996. This patient was hepatic cirrhosis. When he came in, he was already at a very serious stage. He couldn't hardly can walk. He realized the seriousness of his criticalness of this illness. He really he actually didn't put much hope. He did not give himself a lot of hopes. At that situations, he even chosen his final place. With this kind of concept, this patient do not believe me at the beginning because he couldn't find any other way that can help him to keep him alive. So I offer him that maybe let me try. So apparently, after he started treatment with him, his final place, his final rest place that he had booked earlier, he can only use it 20 years later. So this is really, so this is my friend. So that's why I have a very really I have the most memory on this. So this is a really impressive case. So that means his life has been prolonged for another 20 years after the treatment with his integrated method with EPT. So that means regardless of whether your family members or friends who have sick, if you can try to do treatment with EPT, it is never too late to start EPT. So you must immediately, if you have chance, immediately must start to use this EPT to prevent or to add on treatment to our sickness. So because of time shortage, we cannot uh, ask all the questions. So I want to ask a frequently asked question lately about COVID-19. So some people got infected by COVID-19. Is it those infected with COVID-19? Is it suitable for them to use EPT? Right now, COVID-19 Malaysia is really serious. So I'd like to have some opinion from Dr. Koebuniki. On these questions, it's the same like the first questions Is because why? The answer is always, of course, yes. So you must now start to use EPT now, because let's talk about COVID-19 now today. In Japan, also, we in the last 2 years ago, a lot of people got affected. Mostly, initially was people who are old age, and then those who have three highs. But right now, no longer, no more. Right now, even the young people also got affected. Now, most of people that who got infected are people who has a problem about cardiovascular diseases. That once you got infected, the basic is, if once you got infected and and your immune system is not strong, so you will easily get infected and deteriorate. So in EPT therapy, it can actually help us to improve our immunity. Therefore, so you must use this. If you have this why you must use this at home to improve your immunity so that you can fight against COVID-19. So my friend, everybody online, you are not very clear. If you are sick, regardless of what type of sickness or CDV or COVID-19 infections, you must use EPT now. Because of time, I have the final questions for doctor, because we have a lot of user online. During this during their usage of EPT, maybe they haven't improved all their symptoms or sickness. As a doctor, as a EPT expert, and also the TCM expert, can you give us a suggestions? I'm using EPT. I'm not fully recovered yet. For example, I haven't really settled all my problem, my healthness. What is your suggestions? Of course, EPT plus therapy at the beginning for treatment of diabetes, stroke, uh, high blood pressure, for example. It actually helps us in regulating our body as a medical device. But what we face now, we have a more now we have now a more bigger enemy like COVID-19. Now whatever it is, we must come back to the basic. That is, so must come back to our self-immune system, which is controlled by our autonomous system. So it all depends on how strong is your immune system, EPT or thermotherapy. So what they provide is to make us go into a good sleep quality, and with good sleep quality, it will help us to improve, to settle our challenge of diseases. So what we do is help the body to regulate. So if, let's say somebody who uses it for a while and have no feeling, what what can you do? So to use this treatment, in short, you must have patience. So you must have that patience because something will take a bit of time. Now, but the longer you use, the more of it you'll see the result, and the result may come show in some. It takes some time. So you have to persistent in using, and of course your routine practice, daily routine practice must also be a fact. You have to take care of it on that also. Here, of course, thank you very much for Dr. Kobimiki, and thank you, Miss Rika Yang. One Taiwan, one Japan, and we take this time to meet up in this afternoon to share with everybody. So there's more important news which is coming. So I wish everybody, I hope everybody to stay on with keep your lines on with us, because the more good news is coming. So thank you, our Dr. Koibumiku, and thank you, Miss Rika Yang. And now let me pass the mic back to our MC. Thank you very much.